understand everyone's shit's emotional right now, but I've got a 3-point plan that's gonna fix everything.
Break it down, Camacho.
Number 1, you've got this guy not sure. Number 2, he's got a higher IQ than any man alive. And number 3, he's going to fix cheat codes.
Oh, it's so appropriate. And no, it's November 10th, I think, of the Year of Our Lord, 2016. Welcome to episode 118 of the Cheat Codes Podcast, everybody. We're glad you're here. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you with us. The next hour is us drinking a few beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game, tech, and pop culture news. And we're coming to you from a dystopian future where everyone's a fucking idiot and people use a Gatorade knockoff to feed their crops. It's got electrolytes. My name is Joe Erskine, and I am your host. I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe, President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho Arroyo.
Yes.
And Cheat Codes core panelist, Mr. Nikk, not sure, Golesh.
Huh?
Well done. On this episode, we'll internally debate the necessity of offering sexual favors for purchase at Starbucks while externally discussing the following main topics.
Wow.
We're going to talk about that video games are boring article because, yes, we succumb to clickbait as well every once in a while. We're going to talk about what games have taught us and how we can use it to survive the end of the world. And game demos, what makes a good one? We're going to talk about it. For the lightning round, we'll watch Ow My Balls on the Violence channel while chatting about the Nintendo Powerline is coming back because nostalgia overrules the existence of the internet. And Tim Sweeney is a conservationist, rather, and it's a good thing, all right? So we're not doing it again, goddammit. We're going to keep going, all right? Gentlemen, how are you? It's been a long week at work.
Hey,
We're good.
it's gone all
We're
right.
doing okay. I think it's been a long week in general. We're just going to keep dancing around it, all right? We're not going to say anything direct. It's fine, but it's been a long week. You guys okay?
Yeah,
We're going to be all right?
it's going good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I think it is that kind of feeling where we're just like, all right, well, we're not going to address it, so I guess we're going
Dance around it all night long.
to... Because if you asked me what was going on this week, I'd be like, well, there's pretty much only one thing.
Chappelle show. Or
right.
Chappelle's going to be on SNL this weekend. That's exciting.
Or is he going to announce his new show's opening then? Or
You keep... you are the only person I know that's telling me that Chappelle has a new show coming on.
I've read that he's talking about bringing it
I
back.
feel like I'm the guy that usually knows about this shit.
well, I feel like you're the guy that knows about the shit too. Maybe
I'm slipping
Maybe
in my
it's
old
passing.
age.
Bottom line is, it could have been just a scroll through Facebook and some random ass dude was like, Chappelle's show's back.
that's like it's just a Saturday Night
I feel
Live
like
one
I'm
or something.
tempering my social media activity lately.
Well, how excited would you guys be for a new Chappelle show? Like,
Wait, say that again?
how excited would you be for a new Chappelle show?
I don't ever... I think
Not-
Chappelle show is awesome
No, different
because it
format.
stopped.
Different format though.
It left it
Yeah.
awesome. Maybe different format. And if that's what's happening, okay, cool. I hope he gets
I don't
Neil
want
Brennan
Chappelle's
back.
show to come back.
No, I don't either.
Having Chappelle do another show would be
It's
cool.
fun.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's exciting.
So there you go.
That's pretty exciting.
Okay, what else?
Uh,
Titanfall came out.
Titanfall came out. Every shooter came out in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is out.
Haven't
Battlefield 1 is out.
haven't bought
Titanfall is
any of
out.
those.
Gears of War is out.
I will get around to them. I have Gears of War, but I'm still replaying Chrono Trigger on the Raspberry Pi, so that's gonna consume my time. I've convinced myself that or actually, I told myself I will not spend money on another game until I finish Chrono Trigger. Like that's the rule.
After you bought Overwatch.
Well, since then,
It was a retroactive promise. It's fine.
It was after I bought
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Speaking of buying Overwatch, congratulations on your ascension to the PC Master Race. You
Thank
finally
you.
built your PC. You've been playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've ascended.
Why was I ever a console gamer? I literally get to wrap a TV around my face, basically, and
Yeah.
it's not VR.
It's
and that's
not
even
VR,
better.
Right. It doesn't need to be. And there's no eye herpes involved. It's nice.
It's meditative. Like
It's more personal.
it's more personal. You're sitting there kind of just in your own zone. With a console, you're doing that also. You're kind of just sitting back, laying relaxed.
I have a theory
bit,
that
but I
because
don't
you
know.
are actually much closer to the screen.
It is
helps with that
yeah.
intimacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Definitely.
very different.
So-
And you can feel the computer through the mouse and the keyboard and just yeah.
So you'd say
I want to equate that less to what I think you just meant, but more to like when you're driving a car, you're supposed to be able to feel the size of the car around you, that kind of
that's
thing.
exactly
like,
what I
you're
said,
a safe driver when
I
you
don't
know
think
the
that's what he
proportions.
said.
Yeah, I know.
But let's
it's
try
not.
and keep it PC. Sorry, that's just my joke.
fine.
The joke of the day, everyone. Honk, honk.
Jesus Christ, do we have Warren on this episode?
Very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing the episode down with. it sort of feels like we're all Luke Wilson and we just woke up from stasis sleep and everything is very different than when we accidentally went to sleep. You could even equate it to like Back to the Future 2, like when Biff Tannen it becomes like
I'm going to Vegas this weekend.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I made that comment. I'm gonna look up at a tower and be like, Biff.
Some asshole is screwing our mom. So while we sort out the current state of affairs, we're subbing out Brawndo and enjoying some nice day IPAs from the folks at Silver City Brewing. God bless America, everybody. All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Number one.
Let's do it. Perhaps the most talked about article to make its way around the games industry this week came from Brie Code. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. It seems like a...
I can't imagine any of it.
It looks like a good guess.
Continue.
Okay. It is titled Video Games Are Boring. It references a lot of issues with the state of the industry, and despite its clickbaity title, presented a pseudo call to action, a pat on the back for some, and a general hope for more from an industry that already pushes a lot of limits. More than anything, it was an encouragement not to be complacent. I might be getting ahead of myself, but let's get a feel for this. I know that some of you read it and some of you didn't. Mm-hmm. There's only 3 of us here, so I'll let the audience kind of figure out who that was. I was curious about your initial reactions to the article.
To the article?
Yeah.
My initial reactions are different now than they were earlier this week, honestly.
Meaning you're the one that actually read it.
No, I read it. Okay. Like,
this was going to be a mystery.
When I read it, I was more like, this feels like kind of like common sense. Like we should. It's cool that you're writing a really great piece about this.
It's very well written. Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like we should go to like the polls and like make this important, like an important issue or something. It just felt like it's
an interesting analogy.
Yeah, I know. It felt like this was common sense, and then after this week, I'm not certain that I can think that about things anymore.
It's kind of hard to know what to think about anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Mr. Arroyo.
What?
I don't know. Tell me about your initial reactions.
Well, we've all figured out by now that Nick's the one who did not read the article.
Right.
Clearly.
Accurate.
Yeah. If it's really what I think it is, and perhaps you can correct me, it's probably similar to the designer tweet that we talked about like a couple weeks ago, where it's like showing the Tomb Raider climbing, and then it's like, this is what I see, and it's just a circle moving up and right.
In part, yeah. In part,
it's mostly not about what you just described.
Oh,
but it was.
I was trying to be more diplomatic.
No, I get it. Like the title was completely misleading. It was clickbait. When I read the article's actually about, I guess it's about trying to get non-gamers to understand games, but
making games that non-gamers would engage with, but in interesting ways. Like even non-gamers know that like the most popular games are like first-person shooters, for instance, right? And so how do you make an experience, something like Gone Home, for instance, that's a bit like maybe outside of the box? And
what does this have to do with boring?
This is why.
No, this is
the problem that I had with
it. Well, there's a difference between a clickbaity title and one that's completely wrong.
It's boring.
Fair enough.
It's boring because it's the general population doesn't understand why doesn't think video games are fun, and for a decently valid reason. Like they don't think that the fun that we think in video games, that we're designing to create these video games that are fun for people, is not what people are looking for in video games. Mm-hmm. Like people, they're just not about issues that matter to them in a way. Like we create these cool experiences with like these cool mechanics, and we all have had prior experience with these in a way because we've been involved in video games since our childhood.
We're in the bubble.
And you try to introduce a new person to a video game, and they're like, I don't like violence. I don't like killing people. I don't understand this kind of gameplay because it doesn't mean anything to me. And one of the examples they gave was Skyrim, I think.
It was.
And he got his one friend. She got her friend to play Skyrim, and the person she got doesn't like weapons or guns or violence at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Why do you recommend this game to me? It's like it's all knives and daggers and violence and shooting people with bows and stuff." And he's just like, just keep playing it and just give us your opinion later. And then somebody ended up dying in the storyline.
So what happened was that her friend, like, who does not basically just hates games, actually ended up getting kind of sucked in by Skyrim, and then she got kind of attached to one of the companions that you get in the game, and then the companion died, and then she actually had like an emotional response to that.
That's bad?
No, it's good. She was just saying that, like, finally there was something that actually got a person who wasn't necessarily like a gamer into playing games and actually got like something out of it. And so what her call to action is, like, we all need to kind of step back and think about what those experiences look like for different people. There's not just one game that's going to solve that for anything, and that's not what she's talking about. What she's talking about is, like, as developers, we all need to kind of like step back and think about the power of games and trying to think outside the box and offering different kinds of experiences other than, say, a first-person shooter or a first-person hack and slash.
Or not even that. Like, the lady or the person she was trying to introduce these games to try to like expand what she loved to her friends, she didn't enjoy Journey, and Journey's like a completely different experience in Skyrim, and it's like an artistic experience, and you think somebody maybe would enjoy that if they don't like violent games, and she hated Journey more than she hated Skyrim, and it's.
This is confusing though, because the soapbox message doesn't fall in line with the data that you're giving me. At least
if I can equate it based on a title, like when you say the video games are boring, the idea becomes is that we are kind of I think part of what she's trying to say is that a lot of the experiences, we're just reproducing a lot of similar experiences, and the idea is that gets boring when you're just playing.
Oh wait, back up. I'm not saying that the soapbox message is that games are boring. I've already got past the fact that title has nothing to do with it. Okay. I'm talking about the messages that we as developers need to be more conscientious of our demographic that we're attempting to reach, or the people outside of the game bubble that may be interested in games, and to reach out to them, right? That's what I'm gathering so far. But then she goes and says, oh, by the way, I had this friend who hates violence and then loved this game that was not supposed to speak to her. And
it only spoke to her because of the one aspect of it. Like, she's like, it felt like this connection I developed with this character was the most important part of the game.
Let me say it this way. She took it upon herself, at the Brie Code, that the person who wrote this article, to kind of like, I want it's a challenge for me to try and get people that I know don't like games to try and enjoy a game. And so how does that steer my development process? You know what I mean? Or the things that I recommend to people to play, right? And so it's very specific in that regard, in the sense that, like, I'm actively going over after a demographic that does not necessarily apply to anyone, because when we make games as developers, we're probably thinking about a very specific demographic of the people that we are pretty sure are going to play a game that, you know, that we're making, right? At least on a professional level.
Yeah, it's a business.
Exactly.
If I was making gear for runners, I wouldn't be concerned about people who don't run.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm not saying we shouldn't. I
the challenge that she's presenting herself and making her argument around is that she's going to change up that motivation a bit by saying that, like, what would it take to get people that don't like games to play games?
All right, I'm with you there, but you can't create focus groups of people who don't play games and ask them that question, because they don't play games, so they don't know what would get them into it. You can't ask somebody outside the bubble what would get you in a bubble that you don't know anything about.
Okay,
you can't do that. You can't get any real data. Nobody can start a game project from the beginning and say, this is the game that's going to reach people that don't play games. You can't do that. We live in it's important that we don't sit around and say, let's single out people who don't play games and make sure we focus only on people who do on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way she was talking about it, it felt like that's how the person who didn't play games felt about the game industry. And honestly, that is how we treat it a lot. I mean, sure, we're trying to make our games as accessible to as many people as possible, but we hope you understand how to use a fucking controller already.
Right.
And in this sense, it's like, you got to go into it thinking, okay, they don't even really want to play a game. They maybe want to have an experience, and video games offer a really good way of having an experience because it's interactive also, but it's not presented to them in a way that is meaningful to them in a way. Like, they want that emotional connection without having the swords or something, and I don't know. It was
an interesting question, a challenge to pose upon oneself to kind of create an unorthodox design problem and solve it. Right, so basing that argument around it,
problem a little bit.
That's kind of how I equate it to. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but like that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And I think ultimately, it's like, as I try to solve this problem, here's what I found, and here the conclusions I made are like, let's not be complacent with the same kind of like genres and story modes and mechanics. Let's start
This is confusing.
Yeah,
it's in a state of complacency, we're the least. As an industry, we're the least complacent we've ever been.
This is what I was alluding to in the intro, is that we are pushing limits.
Is this strictly about AAA games? Because you can't classify it that way.
No, it wasn't.
It's not.
Good.
It's
then
not.
what are we? Then what's the point? Because there are more indie games that never get seen today that would speak to people outside of this community.
She says this too, and she gives credit where it's
before.
due. She gives credit where it's due for sure. So
I don't know. I don't.
But
you should read the article.
I get that, but indie games, games are not easily accessible to people who don't play games. How is somebody who doesn't know how to play games understand that there is an indie market out there when the TV's telling them to play Call of Duty?
Good point. Yeah.
All they understand
that's
there is these big games.
I feel like this is where mobile becomes very interesting.
Yeah.
This is one of those things because I'm playing devil's advocate on purpose. If you haven't noticed,
Because you didn't read the article.
I want to. No, I guess I'm taking the position of the listener right now of asking the questions to try and mine information from this article.
Okay.
Please do not assume at any point that I'm making statements against the writer of this article in any way, shape, or form.
No, yeah,
but I'm hoping that some of the listeners are like, we need more information about why.
It's hard to explain. All I got to say is you got to read this article. It was pretty good. It was well written, and it was
very well written. And I there were points. I agree that there are things that are up for debate. Predominantly the title. However, it made me kind of think about my job and the things that I do, and kind of or even just the way that I game, and or how I would approach this with my friends, back east, for instance, who aren't necessarily the biggest gamers anymore because they're not in college, they have jobs and they have kids and all this other stuff. They don't stick with it like we did. You know what I mean? And if I was going to get them into something, how would I do it? You know what I mean?
It's kind of like, this is maybe a dumb analogy or something, but it's like I'm designing a game to emulate fishing, a fishing simulator. Okay. And I want to market to people who like fishing games, but I'm not necessarily marketing it to people who fish. People want fishing. People want a fishing game. People want a fishing simulation, but maybe not want it to be a game. They want it to be more just sitting there and fishing or something like it. I don't know. There's
a button to drink the beer from.
I was going to say, if you're not drinking beer,
yeah, I know. It's
a shitty Coleman cooler with some PBRs in it. Baby.
It's like what you said. It's it kind of affects how I think about making a game. If I were making a fishing game, it's okay, I would think about how do I gamify this? How do I make it fun and engaging for people? And they're not looking for that. They're looking. Yeah. They want to experience fishing. They don't want to experience a game. Maybe when we need to understand that they don't want to play a game. Maybe and when we design games, we're designing games. We're trying to have fun. I don't know.
Isn't one of the most popular games on Steam right now, Farming Simulator 17, which is straight up, you literally just farm.
A lot of the really popular games are always those sandbox games where you can just kind of do wherever you want.
It's a simulator, but it's still kind of a very specific. There's a bunch of things you can do, but it's very specific.
Yeah, farm.
Right. Exactly. So, just saying.
I wonder if they get taxed and have to deal with,
Probably. There's probably a whole economy there. Yeah. Guaranteed. Maybe you can even be a lobbyist. You know what I mean?
Yes. You could really feel what it's like to be a farmer.
You can give up your farm and be I'm having a benefit concert for farm. I'm having Farm Aid on my land. I'm not farming anything, but
I really hope you can in Farming Simulator you can give up farming and move to the city. That would be a rich experience too. You're you know what? Fuck it.
I hope there's an Amish mode where you don't have any electric, no electric, you have to do it all by hand.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Okay. Number 2.
We've all probably saved the world 3,000 times over in our gaming careers. We've probably even saved a few worlds that had at some point ended. But what does playing through post-apocalyptic worlds or games... Apocalyptic.
Sorry, I had to.
Through post-apocalyptic worlds or games about the end of the world teach us about surviving the Acodpalypse.
I love it. This is the title.
Yeah. Are there any real-world skills we can take away from all this simulated experience? Do I have to also know how to cosplay to get my power armor to work? Yeah, sorry. Low-hanging fruit. We played a bunch of games. We've been through a bunch of different experiences. Do any of the lessons or mechanics that we've played through or learned, do you ever feel like you've walked away and been I feel like if I was presented with a real world experience or a real world situation, even on the most basic level.
No. It's okay. If you ask me that question, like about if I were just playing like a survival game, like a good example would be Ark, because it's completely sandbox, and you're on this island, and there's other people there, and you're basically just trying to survive. And if you follow like the Max Brooks survival guide of the survival zombie apocalypse, or something, they're saying just get away from people and hide in the wilderness and stuff. And that's not something that is taught in video games at all, because in a zombie apocalypse, the most important thing to do is to get away from other people.
Long Dark does this.
Yes.
Long Dark is all about isolation and then survival.
No, I'm not saying
he said all, but he meant most.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm saying in general,
because he's giving you an example of a game that does it while saying that none do. So I understand.
In general, you go play Resident Evil. That's a zombie apocalypse survival game,
right?
And you're going into the city to like solve a crisis or something. Like that's not. Like that's
every time you see a person, you're like, "Oh, hi, where's Claire?"
Because we're trying to apply this to like a real world scenario. Let's assume that there aren't zombies. Let's assume that there aren't like stupid giant crab monsters from Fallout, like all that shit. Like,
an example, survival island simulation or something. I don't think that's a real name of something, but there is one out there that it's like you're put on an island and you have to survive.
Right. Okay. But let's say this. Like, so what you're talking about, or what I feel like you're alluding to, is a prioritization of what your options are and what's going to help you stay alive. Right. Mm-hmm. So what does that entail? Like, where's my food source? Where's fresh water? Where can I poop? Like, I don't have toilet paper anymore, so how am I going to wipe my butt? And
do you have to wipe your butt if you're alone? I don't know.
Have you ever not wiped your butt?
I'm just saying.
I'm talking real world here, dude.
No, I get that, but I mean, if you're alone on an island, do you have other priorities?
Yes, probably. I think it's this thing where it's like, is there a big
flexible
green leaf?
Out,
no, I'm just saying, is there a big flexible green leaf that I can use in confidence that's going to just, take care of that situation? Then great. If not, then maybe I'm going to...
If you're on a fucking deserted island, every leaf is important. Like,
right.
So no.
So you don't wipe your ass with it?
You don't wipe your ass. You go into the ocean and you can, like, wash yourself off or something.
So you have perpetual case of hemorrhoids for...
I just said you go into the ocean, you wash yourself off.
How did we get here?
Well, this is what I'm asking. Like, what if you said no unequivocally at the beginning? The games have taught you nothing about survival.
Okay. I disagree with myself.
No, okay. I'm really glad to hear that.
No,
for the sake of conversation.
Know, like,
yeah, I am. Yeah.
I think if all you do is the only reason why I said no is because in the intro you talked about the saving the world, and I think that's very, very different than surviving. So I'm not. I think sure what we're
the art thing changed it. Like the article, it was based on an article from Paul Tassi at Forbes, was talking about like, here's the 8 things I learned about surviving, or not necessarily surviving, but like what the underworld taught me about living after the end of the world.
Sorry, but those are two very, very different things.
Did he give a list of games that he meant specifically?
Yes, there were.
Let me put it this way: if you play AAA games only and they're about saving the world, they're always about one person saving
hero
the world
complex kind of thing
against all odds. Right. Go fucking do against all odds in your real life. Go be Nathan Drake and fall off a goddamn cliff in the first 10
30
minutes.
times. Yeah,
you're it's stupid. Yeah. If you actually believe that you learned anything like extremely valuable from those type of scenarios.
So you subtract the power fantasy like straight away.
You have to subtract that
because it's not realistic.
Although what I honestly do think that what you gain, and this is on a really, really subtle level, it's just the whole lot, all the proven studies about people, if you play games a lot, what you're doing is constantly problem solving, completely irrelevant to the end of the world. It's not completely irrelevant to the end of the world in the case of like if you try and be that character, but relevant in that if the world ends, you're just going to like subconsciously solve problems as they come up.
That's the rest of your life, because
that's what you've been doing. In fact, it's what you do on a daily basis. But video games give you that inherent skill. But you play survival games a lot, and you're going to get something much more powerful because you deal with real human players who also have an anonymity backing them. And if the end of the world happens, it's almost like you have anonymity because you don't care about your personal.
There's no consequence to your. Yeah.
So it's like that. If you play with a bunch of gamers who don't give a shit about you, and you play Rust a lot, you're probably going to be okay when the world ends.
So there you go. All right. So I feel like
that was a lot.
You strip away the power fantasy, right? And then you like as a gamer, you have a certain skill set based around critical thinking, maybe even like a a smidgen of hand-eye coordination. Okay, these are all valuable things, right? Like these are skills that could be helpful. But you also like, what if you even took it so far as that like you're in the situation and your coping mechanism is to gamify your survival, where it's like I need to do these 5 fetch quests every day to survive.
I have to berries.
Right, I got to eat some berries. I got to catch a rabbit. I got to get firewood and find a fresh water source. Like here's my 4-tier quest for the day.
I think that's an important skill. I don't know if that's a skill that game players necessarily develop. I think that's a skill maybe like gamification. I mean, like skill of gamifying things is not necessary. It's something you have to kind of learn.
It's something we react to. It's not something we create for ourselves as gamers.
It's not an initial response. I think it's one that you kind of like pick up after exposure to it. You know what I mean?
No, but you respond to gamification.
Sure.
We as developers would probably act a little more like what you described because we craft gamification. So we're be the type of people who would probably be more akin to be
I'm sure people would figure that out. They wouldn't know it's called gamification.
I guess that's why I qualify it as like a coping mechanism. Even like as you're like suffering some sort of trauma, you figure out a way to kind of like get through it. And maybe gamification could be an outlet in that regard. You know?
And if you're alone, then you've got to also like reward yourself. I wonder if you do that. You like pick up berries and you're like, achievement unlocked. Berries achieved.
You have to
like
yell
that
it.
Sequence. It's the sequence in The Beach. Do you guys remember that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio when like he goes into that whole video game? There's a whole video game mode like with a HUD and everything, and he's just like running around like a freaking platformer. Like
I didn't watch that.
He kind of had some like traumatic shit happen to him. This was after all the drug dealers get involved. Whatever. You should watch it. It's a good movie.
Is it called The Beach?
It's called The Beach. It's Danny
Wasn't
Boyle.
one called like Laguna Beach or something also? Or?
That was a TV show. It was a reality TV show.
I'm thinking of some beach show with Leonardo DiCaprio. Not necessarily show, a movie, but
there was. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. It's called The Beach.
I know. Is there something else? Some other beach show or movie he's in?
Maybe, but
I don't know. I'm just remembering. I thought it was like Laguna Beach, and maybe I'm thinking of that one because I never saw that one.
That's a reality show.
It's a good like
Not
throwback
Laguna
to
Beach.
like
I know Laguna. I get
like late
that,
'90s like Moby soundtrack and Danny Boyle before he won an Oscar. It was cool. So
right.
It's good.
Who's the director?
Danny Boyle.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Jeez. Quentin Tarantino.
And actually, and nice little like, if you want me to go deep on this film reference, Alex Garland wrote the script. Who's the guy who wrote the script for and directed Ex Machina recently?
Yeah.
So
you like that movie?
I do like that movie a lot. It's good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So the end of the world and stuff.
Yeah, it's coming.
Right. So.
This is why.
Is there anything that games have taught us that we can that will help us survive?
Well, I'm curious. What are the games that they mentioned in the article?
I mean, Fallout, obviously. Man, I don't. There were like 8 videos, and I didn't have time to watch them all. And that sounds super lazy, but I was working at the same time. So, but like, think about all the. This is why I was saying at the beginning, at the top, like, I feel like a lot of the games that we talk about or have played in our lives, time and time again, are about saving the world. It's just the same thing as like any movie out there. It's like, oh shit, there's a problem. Got to save the world. You know what I mean?
Hero's Journey, all that bullshit.
Right. So it doesn't really matter to me. Like when I was writing the script, I was like, I don't care what his 8 are. I'm curious about the ones that we have played that make a difference. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. I was just curious if he was going to like mention more like single player experiences like Resident Evil,
I think, yes,
or Fallout, or if he's going to talk about
predominant
Rust
in his list,
and Minecraft or
Rust is more of a multiplayer.
I guess I know that.
Those are the ones that are valuable.
I was wondering. Those are the ones that are more
like
valuable.
Other like thinking or
in a way.
It's more volatile.
It's not a survival set.
It's not a scripted. You're the center of the universe, saving the world. It's true. You're a player
with Rust or H1Z1 or any of those. No, I agree. It's totally valid. So
that's why I was just curious what he was saying is like valuable or isn't valuable, or did they come to a conclusion?
No, it was more like here's the 8 best things for this.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's
like
fine.
Here's your study guide.
Right. And
for surviving.
You won't believe number 6.
Survivors hate him. Click here. You know, like,
also, games are boring.
Gen X versus millennials.
Yeah, sure.
Look at the color of this map.
At the risk of sounding like unprepared for the episode or whatever, who gives a shit? My point is that like I was more interested in the fact that like have we actually ever learned anything in a game that like thought like, oh wow, this is actually an applicable skill in real life in a like a situation of extreme trauma or pressure, much like a survival game would be. You know what I mean? So
have you?
How would you know until you're surviving?
If I could rig up a lock picking thing to 2 opposing joysticks, I mean, then I'd probably be like a master thief or something.
Every time I needed to open
like
a
Splinter
door,
Cell or something.
I think that's actually how Skyrim works, but I forget. But beyond that, I think I was a Boy Scout as a kid, so I feel like I have any survival knowledge, and I'm not saying I'm like this fucking encyclopedia of it. I know how to make a fire if I have to, and I'm sure I could get over the fact of killing an animal in the wild to survive.
It's not too bad.
It's not that bad.
No, I mean, I can speak as not an expert, but as
have you hunted a few times?
No, I'm not talking about hunting. I'm talking about
Survival.
I was in survival training in the Air Force.
Okay,
like,
fair enough. There you go.
The whole situation is like you get shot down in a plane or something. Like, how do you survive in the wilderness?
Sure.
I mean,
there you go.
It's basic.
So,
it seems like something basic people need
like
to know
real
in the Air
people
Force.
and real situations. You learn more from real life than you did from video games, is what you're saying.
I guess so. And I was also a Boy Scout, so like I had that as a kid growing up, and I camped constantly. So it
Still
was.
do. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel uncomfortable, and like you just kind of you learn those things and how to survive, and it's useful, but it doesn't teach you how to handle the end of the world, because that's not just your problem, that's other people's problem, and their problems become your problem.
we all know when the world ends, like the scariest thing ever is other people. Always.
Yeah.
That's the story of everything. Like zombies are irrelevant.
The Walking Dead. Yeah. The Walking Dead isn't about the zombie. The Walking Dead is not pertaining to the zombies. It pertains about the living people. Yeah.
That I've talked about with my friends before, and this is honestly one of the reasons why I got into video games. Me and my friend Cameron, we used to talk about what kind of game we would design, and back then in 2006 or something, it was all about zombies, so we were thinking of a zombie game.
Sure.
And the whole idea was like, okay, the zombies aren't really players. Maybe there's some special mode where like people can play as zombies for like a fun like little minute or something. But the whole idea was like the zombies are just kind of like a force of nature. They happen. It's all about your interactions with other people. Like, and then we came up with other mechanics or something just to make the zombies more involved. But it's really how you interact with other people.
But then we've done it. H1Z1 and DayZ.
And they do.
I was thinking
those games have those kind of stuff already. Yeah, it's all about
State of Decay, for instance,
State of Decay,
that. Yeah, all that stuff. So
I don't know. Read Max Brooks' Zombie Survival Guide. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's actually pretty good, and it's done fictitiously based on another book that he did also, which is actually really good. It's an anthology in a way.
I didn't like World War Z.
The movie's shit in a way.
I'm not talking about the movie.
Let's not worry about the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's not.
I'm talking about the book.
The book was fun because it was told from like some guy's point of view at different instances during the war in a way. And
he did it like Carrie was written when Stephen King wrote Carrie that way.
Yeah,
it was based on like I'm going to interrupt all my chapters of narrative with these like reports of like these people that like were thinking back. Like it's not exactly the same, but it reminded me a lot of that.
It was done well enough. I think. Yeah,
it's fine.
So you're saying most of your survival skills are not really coming from video games? In fact, maybe it's more.
I think I would apply my survival skills to video games more or something. Yeah,
I think it's the reverse, right? It's what have I learned from real life that actually helps me survive in video games?
Yeah,
there we go. I think
unless you play the purely survival video games. If you play those and you play those often, I guarantee you that one of those people are going to be a little better at dealing with other people.
That's it. And depending on the mechanics of the game,
knowing how to deal with other people.
But it's also like when I watch, like I think, and I've said this before in the show, like the few times that I actually enjoy watching Twitch streamers, they're usually playing games like Rust or H1Z1, and it's like, but like every game, every mode starts the same way. It's like get into the game and loot like crazy, run into every building, get as much as you can. If you run into people, try not to die, and then once you get yourself like looted up, it's like, all right,
get the fuck out of there.
No, then it's like, let's go hunt people and start eliminating who's left.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
So they're playing it like a game.
Well, but
if this was real life,
I'm treating it like we've reversed the question.
If that's where real life, that's how it would be. Like
some people, not me.
You'd be up. I'm
going to climb the highest mountain.
Be up in Canada. You go up to Canada and hide in the wilderness. There's so much wilderness there. All of America hide.
Right.
It's pretty good.
You don't have to be scared of any Canadians.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. Like, I'd be like, oh, hi there. And
They
they'd be
keep
like,
their
hey.
doors unlocked. You can just walk into their houses and say hi.
Okay.
You walk in and they're like, oh, sorry.
Just don't bring your guns.
I'm sorry you went in the
Sorry,
wrong
I left
house.
my door unlocked.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, fuck.
Can I help you find your way?
We love you, Canada. It's so much that...
We may need you soon.
Sorry
Number
about
3.
sorry about crashing your immigration site this week. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
exactly.
Anyway,
Number 3.
Kotaku posted an article recently discussing the many merits of game demos. What makes a good one? Are beta tests actually demos? What was the best game demo you ever played? The answer is PT, probably. Is it just a vertical slice? Is it just a marketing ploy? So many questions, but we've never really devoted any time to talking about demos on the show before, so why not now? Gentlemen,
hundreds of episodes.
Have demos ever heard a game?
Well,
What?
that's
Okay.
my first. I
When-
mean, you're jumping ahead here, but sure, okay. I am curious. Like, so again, this is based on the premise that we've actually never talked about game demos, and I feel like, and I could be very wrong about this. I often am. The game demos existed more so in the past, at least the ones that the public knew about.
I think so.
I think demos are created all the time, and you guys can speak to this very specifically about pitching a game to a publisher before anybody knows about it. You create a demo. Is that always a vertical slice? Is it always truly representative of the gameplay? I think that question only applies when you get the public involved, not when you're publishing or pitching to a publisher, because the thing the publisher sees initially.
What's a demo anymore when there's early access?
That's
Well, so
part of
here's
the point.
this is part of the question too: is that when you have a beta test or even alpha, or when you're respawn and you say Titanfall 2 is going to have a tech test over the course of a couple of weekends, you know what I mean? Like, is that technically a demo? Because you're not getting full access to the game, but you are getting this chunk of it, right? Like, technically,
I don't know. I don't know that I really am thrilled about us being pedantic about verbiage with this.
I know. I get
you
that.
don't.
yeah.
We don't have to be, but I want like. So my question is, like, do we need more demos? What's the value? And is it?
Well, it
I guess.
depends, 'cause again, you're
the only
asking me to
pedantic.
define
The only
it first.
well, okay, but I'm not at like. Fuck you. Yes, I am. There you
Okay,
go.
so
how about that?
if we want to define it, then to me a demo is something that used to happen that no longer does. It's when it's specifically a vertical slice of the game that's public facing, that's meant to convince you that there's something much better and greater outside of the scope of what you're in, but on a level that's definitely not like anything but crazy polished.
That's so a vertical slice.
Isn't
It
Final
is a vertical slice.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 15 is coming out next year. There's a demo coming out right
The demo happened
now
already.
or something. Yeah,
there was
already.
an early demo. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I can't think of any other demos besides Final Fantasy for some reason.
Neo got one that that Japanese like samurai version of Dark Souls that's coming out. That had. I'm saying that they exist.
Yeah.
I used to download them when I had an Xbox 360 from the arcade all the time for different games, at least the ones that offered them. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a dying breed of demo based on the way that you just defined it, Joe. I think those kind of demos are not as prevalent anymore.
I don't think they're useful anymore. Like,
Okay, interesting.
well,
Why not? I feel like they are. I feel like they should. I feel like these are great
the way
ways
you just
to,
explained the demo, you saw these ones on Xbox Live, the arcade,
On
Xbox
360.
360 arcade.
Sure.
Were these games usually out already? Like, probably, or just like a demo version of it?
the way I think of a demo is always pre-release.
Pre-release. Okay.
Oh, not me. I think a
don't
demo is
know.
like all the way back to like
but you still
PlayStation
have,
1.
But you
when
still
I
have
get
access
discs.
to it even after release. Like if you're not sure about the game, you can play the demo and then you can still buy it off that.
Okay,
that
fine.
same. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking more like those PlayStation demo packs and shit like that.
Okay.
Where
Oh, the old disc that you
play
got?
too extreme with one level, and you're like, I get to be the rollerblader, and then I realized that I could play this and be content, so I never bought Too Extreme, but I thought it was a great game.
Sure.
So that's kind of damaging.
Well, that's so. I guess that. All right. So
I think that's
back to the
important.
part where Nick jumped way the fuck ahead. Has it ever hurt a game?
Well, I guess I'm living proof of that. And
Well, that's
and
it, right? So like, if you play something, you play a demo, right? And you decide that you're not going to buy it, then
Yeah, that's
technically
why.
that
That's
hurts.
why I think it's it's not as important because there's so many like YouTube Let's Plays of games out there already. Like you're almost demoing the game through other people playing it. You don't have to spend any money on it. You don't have to spend any time on it. You just have to watch a video. Well, I mean, that's spending time, but you can spend as much time watching that video as you want.
I don't know if I feel maybe, and I'm speaking strictly for myself. Maybe it's my age or the way I interact with the medium in general, but I don't spend a whole lot of time watching. I appreciate the value that it has, and I have done it in the past, but I don't spend a lot of time watching games that I haven't played yet. In the hopes of getting like having it influence the way that I spend my money on games.
Okay. Oh, I don't go out of my way to watch like just random games or something. I'll watch a game that I'm interested in buying.
Sure.
And if I'll watch a game that I've already bought.
I'm saying that I have done that, but I don't necessarily think of that as a demo.
But
no, they're not. We've already like kind of crossed the threshold that we're not really speaking to demos because there's not. It is a dying breed.
It's a good qualification.
Once we classify demo as what I think it was when I was playing, through all the way up, maybe PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 maybe is when they really kind of stopped happening as often as I remember. They were always just chunks of a game to try and get you to buy it. And I think that was a byproduct. It's indicative of the way that the media culture works, especially with the network and the web. There's too much accessible information for us now. Right. The point before was just like there was no other place you could get it. You could get the information that proved whether or not you wanted to buy the game for yourself. Now there's just too much. It's not that demos wouldn't be useful today in any way. It's that the amount of work it takes to make that vertical slice, knowing that the game's not finished, that's a fuckload of work for developers because they have to kind of focus really hard on polishing these things that really aren't done, but just enough to give you this like corridor into it.
Okay.
Where the return on that investment for them is not large anymore because there's a larger number of people that'll just watch someone Let's Play it and buy the game.
Speaking as people who have done this, do you think it's better to make a demo? Not better or easier. Do you think it's more valuable to make a demo on the front end to present a game idea than it is to sell one after the game is done, or it's about to ship and you have a demo that's kind of coming out right before you're shipping? Is it more valuable one way or the other?
I wouldn't make one either way.
I would never make a demo, honestly, either. I think I don't know. Like it could be a way to. If you have the expendable resources to like put out a demo, then you could use it as a marketing strategy. And I feel like that's what Square Enix is doing with Final Fantasy 15.
I feel like demos often get wrapped up in the marketing thing. There's no debate there. Yeah.
I think it's odd that Final Fantasy 15 thinks they need a demo to sell their game. I think that's fucking ridiculous, but that just speaks to honestly, in my opinion, the kind of backwardsness of the Japanese industry, but
the video game industry.
Yeah, the Japanese video game industry anyway. But it's just not
whatever, Philfish.
Everybody's already gonna buy Final Fantasy 15. Like everyone's waiting. A lot of people aren't gonna buy get the demo and then make up their mind to actually buy the game because they had fun.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
No, I think there's a certain amount of non-offensive substantiality to your argument.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's okay.
For a demo for a large company, it is good. It could be good publicity.
That was you.
That's the title right there.
It's a copaplyptic publicity.
Publicity. Yeah. It's I don't know. It could be worth it for a large company. Is it ever worth it for an indie studio? No, because you could just do the early access thing. Have other people play?
Okay, for larger companies though, it probably does.
And for larger companies,
as a test, like to see what kind of like did we hit the right marks?
No, that's QA's job. That is not a demo's job. QA puts out stuff to test their game.
I think traditionally speaking, you're right. But I feel like people are trying to maybe change the script on us.
No, you are putting a demo out to market your game.
Already been
you
QA
are
tested.
marketing what you have.
You are not QA testing with your demo. Otherwise, you're committing fucking suicide.
And
when they do a vertical slice at a show floor like E3 or PAX or something for a game that has not come out yet.
Yeah, that's been QA'd to shit.
Yeah, and PAX and E3 is a marketing stunt. Like everything you see, it's all marketing.
It's just straight marketing.
Yes. Demos go to E3 because it's for marketing. They don't go there to test the game.
We're drumming up interest not because we want to see how people react.
Yes.
That's what makes
The reaction is a secondary kind of like...
That is the exact reason why demos in this episode have been classified very different than anything such as early access.
Fair enough. No,
because early access is something where
we're honing in here. I appreciate it.
Where you do QA early access to hell also, but you do it in some type of confined way where you say these are the features we're going to leave out, knowing we're going to add them later, but we're going to finish the stuff that we're currently working on up unto this point.
If you have a game in early access, you need to communicate that very clearly, though.
No, I'm talking about it from the like the standpoint of the people making the game.
Sure.
The way they communicate, let's not worry about that. But what I'm getting at is then you put it out to early access because you want to make the game better, and you want to get feedback from players early on so that you can iterate.
You can change
on
the
it,
game,
right?
Okay.
If you have to, you don't iterate on a demo. If you make a demo, you that's your marketing tool. Someone is defining their buying purchase off of your demo.
It's an interactive trailer.
Okay.
In a way.
One of the side effects could even be like, because you've actually gone to the lengths and the measures and spending the resources to actually do this, you might actually be bringing on preemptive backlash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that companies didn't learn from demos and make changes before release. I mean, you absolutely will do that.
So there is a certain amount of QA involved.
Yes, you're going to get it all the time. Whenever you release something to the public, it's a completely different beast than anything you ever did in-house, no matter how many people you throw at it that you pay.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not the same thing, you know, but it's really important to note that with a demo, if you put it out there and it's shit, then no one's gonna buy it, even if you make it fucking amazing after that.
What if you put a demo out and you're not quite sure if it's shit yet?
I didn't put a demo.
Oh, well, then you need to work on your self-confidence.
I feel like I'm like, hey, guys, you want to listen to my mixtape? That kind of thing. Maybe.
No, that's confidence. That dude on the street who's shoving a CD in my face.
Hot fire, bro.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, what is a CD?
I guess...
Here's a
hard.
A memory.
Is it a bank savings
stick
account?
Maybe it's hard to actually say for larger companies what they're using the demo for. I feel like
marketing.
A lot of it is marketing, like I said. But then I go back and I think about Final Fantasy 15, and they had a demo a year ago that came out with like Final Fantasy Type O or something.
Sure.
And the only reason people bought that game was so that they could play the demo of Final Fantasy 15.
But it's also like, I know we've taken a long time making this game. Here's a little something to like hold you over for a while.
Do you think that's what that was?
Which is kind of still marketing, right? Like,
yeah, I guess though. But do you think that was also like a public opinion poll of the game, and then maybe they would make changes? Because that was
in this specific regard, I feel less so
ago.
because I feel like unless things have drastically changed as in the run up to Final Fantasy 15, like that demo was probably pretty indicative of what the experience might be like.
It's really fucking hard to tell because that game was supposed to come out like 10 years ago when Final Fantasy 13 came out. Are you talking about Last
Guardian, or are we talking about?
No, I'm talking about 15. Final Fantasy 15.
No, I understand.
I know.
It was versus 13 when it first came out or something. But
you're so passionate about Final Fantasy that
I get the joke.
My wife has not been enthusiastic about buying a game until she saw the trailer for one of the more recent. No, for Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's fucking stoked, dude. Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Why is she excited for it?
Because she's played a bunch of the previous Final Fantasy.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know she played Final Fantasy.
Not like the lightning ones, like not 13 or any of that shit, but because fuck those games.
No, 13's good. Speaking of lightning,
good job.
Segue. All right, we'll move on. It's time for the lightning round. Here's how it works. We're going to take two quick topics and give each member of the panel a minute to chime in uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award the panelist a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular. You guys are going to be in charge of awarding me points because we don't have a special guest this time, but more coming soon. I will award you guys points accordingly.
Thank you.
Let's do the person on the left.
Oh, we're going to change it up altogether.
Awards the points to the person.
I like that. Okay, we can try that this time. All right. So you're going to award Joe. I'll award you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
This is a podcast. People can't see how the left and right works.
And once we award the points to under.
Right.
I needed to do it for myself, okay?
He's like, wait, which...
Huh?
Right.
Yeah, left.
Left.
Yeah.
L. Okay, got it.
All right. Left on the forehead means left. This weekend, November 11th to the 13th, Nintendo is opening its Powerline hotline once again for a one-time only trip down memory lane. It also happens to coincide with the release of the NES Classic. If you get stuck playing games that you've been out for 30 years and don't know how to use the internet, you can call the hotline for some hot tips on where to find the whistles in Super Mario Bros. 3. You have 60 seconds, panel, to act out exactly how your phone call would go.
Oh, I love this.
If, unfortunately, the system will be automated. It won't be the live people on the other end this time around, unfortunately. But I want you guys to pretend that there's live people on the other end. You have 60 seconds to tell me which game you're playing, what question you have, and how it's going to go.
Oh.
With the person online.
That's cool. Who's going?
Who's going first?
You have to go.
Dramatic pause.
Is Nintendo Hotline, are they a part of Nintendo at all?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to be sure.
There's actually been some great articles about those people. Like, whatever.
We'll
We'll talk about it after the show.
We talked about Nintendo Hotline once
Mr. Arroyo.
Ah, shit.
You get to
Okay.
go first.
All right, this is going to be like one of those insurance commercials where you talk to yourself on the phone, you
Okay.
know, and then they're like, oh, we're like one of you. You know that? Okay, anyway. No, I'd call in and be like, hi, I'm playing Legend of Zelda, second playthrough, right? Because nobody ever fucking plays it the second time. And I'm really stuck at this part. I'm trying to get the magic sword, and I don't know where the fuck it is, and I've been playing forever. Oh, never mind, I Googled it. Goodbye.
Fine.
Done.
I'm going to award you half a magical sword because you used half of your time. And I asked you for 60 seconds.
I didn't need any more. I Googled it. Fuck.
Well, it would normally cost you
What
like
is this?
$2.99 for a minute. For the Powerline back in the day, only cost you $1.50. Apparently.
Is there a certain system I'm playing this on?
Yeah, it's the
game?
NES.
I'm playing on the NES.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. NES.
What do I get for that?
Is it my turn or your
already
turn?
I
gave
told
me
you,
half a magic
sword for
Are
using
you trying
half
to
a minute.
Are you trying to decide if it's your turn or my turn?
No, I'm trying to...
That was easy.
Not
I mean, I don't
easy.
really think there's any other way to go about this.
Oh, I haven't gone yet.
Now I'm excited.
Now you got to give it to him.
Nick.
Hey. Okay, so I'm calling up Nintendo Hotline, and we're role playing.
Powerline.
We're role playing. Okay, Powerline, guys. Can I buy this game on PC? Can I get this game on mobile?
Wait, you?
Can I buy it on the Xbox Live Arcade?
No, and no.
No. Shit. Do I have to buy one of those
Sorry, so
Switches?
this is a hotline for devoted
Nintendo.
gamers, for Nintendo gamers.
Nintendo gamers?
Yes.
Oh,
which game are you curious
I
about?
love the games you guys make. I'm curious about Link and Zelda.
Yes, which Zelda game are you talking about?
I want to play
one or two.
any fucking Zelda game I can play on my phone would be great. Can I get that?
We're talking about
I'm
the
gonna have
NES.
to talk to my supervisor. Hold, please.
Yeah.
You're the guy. I award you the title of the guy that eats up the phone line, so the people that actually want to use it can't get through because you're being a dick.
That's perfect.
Is the walkthrough the same for the PC version of Mario 64?
We're talking about the NES. God
Do
damn it.
you even know Mr. Nintendo?
All right.
Show Erskine.
You got to give me points,
What? No.
don't you?
I mean,
Wow,
yes,
apparently-
we did the left thing, and I kind of jumped the gun. So if you would
okay.
like to
No, it's
trump my points, you can.
No, the person to your left. Do we not know how left and right work?
Yeah, but he gave you points, so I was
you were
switching
supposed to give me points.
it. Oh, I give you no points.
Okay. Anyway, I will give you points. Go.
Fine. All right.
You'll give me points?
No.
Wait, I didn't get points.
Yes, I awarded you
He awarded you
the status of the guy who holds up the line talking to people while they get their supervisor, so other people who are actually trying to call in for real information have to sit there and wait listening to shitty music.
Yeah, thanks for making him.
I wanted to say it
repeat
again. I thought you were joking.
Anyway,
I mean,
Sorry.
yes, but like,
Joe,
all right,
keep going.
Here we go. Ring, 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 ring.
hello.
Hi, I have questions about Super Mario Brothers 3.
And I have answers.
When do I get to hang out with Fred Savage and Jenny Lewis while they take me across country to try and win a Super Mario Brothers 3 tournament. We actually don't know that it's going to be Super Mario Brothers 3, but I'm really good at 1 and 2. So hopefully I might be good at whatever games they have at the championship. When does that happen?
That's great. I'm going to send you a free copy of Nintendo Power. Do you happen to have any questions about the game?
That's actually out of print, and so are you just going to print me high glossy copies and then staple them together?
Yeah. What's your name, son?
Jimmy Savage.
Jimmy Savage.
I don't know.
It's good.
I was just trying to reference the wizard. Yeah, I'm done.
I was
just trying to reference the wizard.
I got it.
Do I give you points? Because I haven't given anybody points.
Go ahead. You can take it this time,
points,
even though we fucked it all up, didn't we?
Because we didn't give it to the left?
It was my fault. I screwed the whole left, the left.
Go ahead.
I give you one trying to figure out which is left with my right hand on my forehead. It looks like this, Joe. Joe, it looks like this.
I feel like a Beck song right now. All right. Lightning round. Topic number B. It's a letter, not a number. You okay? Joe, you look super annoyed. You okay? You got a headache or something? Yeah. Tim Sweeney recently bought 7,000 acres of land in North Carolina that was otherwise going to be cut up with power lines. This complements the 30,000 or so acres he already owned. He's become one of North Carolina's biggest landowners, much of it marked for conservation, which means non-development. Pretty cool if you ask me. If he wasn't setting it all aside for conservation, what's the best way for him to use it? Can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, I get to give you points. Okay, go.
This is how Westworld starts. And he is Anthony Hopkins. He's bought up, 35, 36, 37,000 acres in North Carolina. He's building Delos, dude. Like, he's mapping out his area. He's going to, use Unreal Engine to power his future AI/VR
sex park.
Right. Exactly. So here it is, everybody. Art meets life. Life meets art. It's all happening. Look, it's cool that he's being a conservationist about it, and that is pretty awesome. But if he wasn't going to be a conservationist and I had to pick how he'd use it, I'd say build Westworld. That's it. There you go.
Wow. What's your favorite Nintendo game?
Ever?
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda.
Okay. I will give you one copy of Legend of Zelda on Unreal Engine.
Just give him Link.
Coming out never.
Just give him that dumb Link game.
I feel like I can just watch the YouTube video.
Right.
All right, fair enough.
Good work.
Who goes?
Nikk.
What's the question, please?
If Tim Sweeney has all this land in North Carolina that he's earmarked for conservation that he bought, if he wasn't going to be a conservation, how would you tell him to use it?
Is Tim Sweeney
the head of Epic?
Is he your friend? Like, no, the guy you met at E3?
Tim Schafer.
No, that's Tim Schafer.
Okay.
Tim Sweeney was the one that gave the
I'm not friends
speech
with either of them.
at Dev Days, Steam Dev Days.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
He seems cool. He bought all this land. God, he talked a lot about fucking 4K displays and computing power and just the general state of stuff.
This is definitely one of those. Nick's like, I threw the towel. Here's the towel.
You don't have to say it. I mean,
why?
When you said Powerline, though, I immediately thought of the Goofy movie.
Okay.
Because the hero of that movie is Powerline, the rock star who Max goes to go see for the movie. But he lies to his girlfriend saying that he's going to the concert, but his dad's actually trying to take him to a camping trip. And he ends up changing the map on his dad, and they end up going to L.A. And his dad got really upset at him for it because he knew.
Goofy.
Yeah, Goofy.
Right.
And, whoa. I can't do it, though. Can you do it?
No, because I'm thinking about it too hard now, but you're out of time.
God, that hurts so
And I want to award you some other game engine other than Unreal so that you can build the Goof Troop.
Just give me the goddamn Eyes to Eyes song from the movie. I mean, the songs are also great.
Only you know what you're talking about right now. So, all right, Arroyo, cap us off for the evening. Talk to me about what Tim Sweeney should do with his land.
Well, what Tim Sweeney would do with his land is completely irrelevant because based on what I've heard him say, he doesn't even think that going to Mars is worth our time nor anything, because once the metaverse exists, which is that of a universe that's completely virtual, we can fucking go to Mars in our imagination anyway, and go there with other people because that's how the metaverse is going to work. So, the purpose of having any of this additional land is kind of, well, like I just said, it's irrelevant. So that land's just going to sit there, and he's gonna basically have a lawn chair in the middle of thousands and thousands of miles of land, and just have a fucking VR headset strapped to his face and just be in the metaverse, wasting the remainder around him, along with everybody else.
Would you like to award points to Mr. Arroyo?
I give him
a T-shirt that says "Party Pooper" on it.
Why?
Why?
Did you?
No.
You weren't there. You didn't hear his speech.
No, I didn't. I was not at
he
Dev
passionate
Days.
about.
I made sure you guys went to Dev Days. I didn't go.
I give you 2 Steam Links.
Great. What do I do with 2 Steam?
3 of the little extra controller dongles.
Okay.
One of the controller backs that holds one of those dongles just in case you lose it. So you can hold on to it.
Yep.
And an empty Steam controller case. So.
Congratulations on your Steam Dev Days swag bag.
Thanks. Let me just go ahead and put it in the corner with my other stuff.
At the office with the rest of it.
Damn
it. All right, everybody. We've done it. Episode 118. It's pretty much over. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please hit us up at cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter. Get in on the conversation. That's going to do it for us for now. Make sure to check out the Patreon page. You can become a patron for as little as $2 a month. Thanks to everyone who's jumped on board so far. We are grateful. We're going to see you next week. And until next time, go away. We're baiting in here. Go away. Baiting.
Go away.
Baiting.